The video opens with the haunting sound of rushing water, layered with distant, panicked splashes that immediately draw you in. The camera pans across a wide, turbulent river, and there, caught in the unforgiving current, is a young deer struggling to stay afloat. Its eyes, wide with fear, scan frantically for any sign of safety, its movements growing weaker with every passing second. The narration begins softly but urgently. Imagine a life hanging by a thread, surrounded by chaos, with no one to answer your silent plea. What would you do if you were the only hope? The tension is immediate. The viewer feels the cold water, the thrashing limbs, the rising panic. The camera then shifts to a trail along the riverbank where a stranger is walking, unaware of the drama unfolding just meters away. Their footsteps crunch on leaves, their gaze catches movement, and instinctively they stop. The narration continues, bridging the two worlds. Sometimes, heroism is not announced by choice but demanded by circumstance. A single moment can challenge us to rise above fear and act, even when the world seems indifferent. The stranger's eyes widen as they spot the struggling deer, heart pounding, a mixture of uncertainty and resolve flashing across their face. In that instant, a silent connection forms between human and animal, and the stage is set for a story of courage, empathy, and the fragile, powerful bonds that can exist between species. The scene lingers, capturing the suspense of the next crucial moments, inviting viewers to lean in, their emotions tethered to every splash, every desperate movement, every heartbeat of the story. The deer fights the current with every ounce of strength it has left. Its legs thrash violently, but the river's relentless force pushes it backward again and again. Water splashes over its head, and its panicked eyes search desperately for a way out. Leaves, branches, and debris float past as the animal struggles, growing weaker with each passing moment. Every second feels stretched, every splash echoing urgency. The camera closes in on the deer's trembling muzzle, the heaving chest, the silent cry for help. Across the riverbank, the stranger watches, frozen for a heartbeat by the enormity of what's happening. Thoughts race. How to save this creature without putting oneself in danger? The tension is palpable. The narration whispers, in the face of fear, life's fragility is revealed. One wrong move could cost a life, yet inaction is a heavier burden than any risk. The river, wild and unforgiving, mirrors the stakes of the moment. Time slows as the deer flails, water cascading around it, reminding viewers that courage is often born in the shadow of desperation. The stranger takes a deep breath, preparing to act, signaling the imminent turning point. The stranger steps carefully toward the river's edge, eyes locked on the struggling deer. Each step is deliberate, balancing caution with urgency. Improvised tools, a branch or rope, are considered as the river's current roars louder. The deer senses movement and freezes, splashing even harder, but the stranger's calm presence begins to steady the moment. With patience, empathy, and determination, the human inches closer, extending a lifeline of hope. The narration carries the tension. Sometimes bravery is not about strength, but the willingness to act when others would look away. Every gesture matters, every second counts. Slowly, the deer grasps the chance, letting itself be guided as instinct blends with trust. The camera captures the intimate struggle, hands reaching, water splashing, muscles straining, every detail heightening suspense. At the critical moment, the deer's hooves find solid ground, the current's pull loosening as safety approaches. Relief is palpable, but the struggle isn't forgotten. It leaves a mark on both rescuer and rescued. The narration softens. In the quiet triumph of survival, a bond is formed. Life, fragile and fleeting, can be preserved by courage and compassion. The deer collapses onto the riverbank, exhausted but alive. Its chest heaves, eyes wide, yet there's a glimmer of trust as it glances at the stranger who risked so much to help. The stranger kneels, checking for injuries, offering gentle reassurance without invading the deer's space. Nature watches quietly. Birds pause in the trees, the river slows, the forest holding its breath. The narration reflects on the quiet power of empathy. Sometimes, the smallest gestures carry the greatest weight. A hand stretched, a life saved. A bond forged without words. The deer slowly regains strength, nudging the stranger lightly before limping toward the safety of the forest. A moment of silent understanding passes, a connection felt but unspoken, between two lives that briefly converged in extraordinary circumstances. The camera pulls back to show the river returning to calm, the forest absorbing the quiet aftermath. The narration concludes, "Courage is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers in the actions we take, in the lives we touch, and in the hope we leave behind." The scene fades with soft light filtering through the trees, leaving the audience with a profound sense of relief, gratitude, and wonder at the quiet heroism of ordinary people. The camera lingers on the quiet riverbank, now calm, the forest alive with soft rustling leaves and distant bird calls. The deer has disappeared into the shadows, safe and free, while the stranger stands for a moment, breathing deeply, letting the weight of the experience settle. The narration begins with gentle reflection. In a world full of noise and chaos, it's easy to forget how a single act of courage can change a life. Sometimes the smallest choice, reaching out, stepping forward, offering help, is enough to rewrite a story. The scene shifts to a wide shot of the forest and river, sunlight filtering through the trees, painting everything with warmth and hope. Compassion doesn't demand recognition. It doesn't wait for applause. It simply acts quietly, courageously, and without expectation. And in those moments, bonds are formed that speak louder than words. A final shot returns to the stranger walking slowly away, a mix of humility and quiet pride in their posture, while nature resumes its rhythm around them. The narration concludes, "A silent plea was answered, a life was saved." And in the heart of that forest, the courage of one became the hope of another. Sometimes heroism is not a choice, but a calling we can all hear if only we are willing to listen. Fade to black with soft ambient sounds of the river and forest.